Whatever they do is what they do.
Agreed.
Ask them why they keep continuing.
How's the young girl, Jim? How'd you make out, Charlie?
Who wrote it? So bring me your perfection, for their love will surely be no cold and fear or hunger.
About delays in this trial, one of the defense attorneys has sort of laid it off on the prosecution.
That's absurd, Dick. The genesis of the delays has not originated with the prosecution, but with the defense.
There's been a lot of rumblings and mumblings among the public about the numbers of delays in the Manson trial, and it seems to all be rubbing off on the defense. How about that?
Well, that's unfortunate, and it's somewhat misleading. There have been delays. There have been 2 delays in this trial, 2 continuances, and the 2 continuances were at the private request of the prosecution. On both occasions, I received a phone call privately at my office from the prosecution asking if I would go along with a continuance, and I indicated that I would. Now, the reason that a continuance was desired and sought by the prosecution was to delay this period of time so that Watson from Texas could be returned and tried along with all the other defendants. Now, I think that that was a perfectly good and valid reason for the delay, but I'm a little bit distressed at the impression the public has that the delays were at the behest and the request of the defense. They were at the request of the prosecution, but privately.
Just examining the court record will strongly indicate that nearly all of the motions in this case have been made by the defense. And by definition, when you make a motion, this necessitates considerable court time to resolve. So nearly all of the motions have been made by the defense, not by the prosecution. The prosecution is seeking a very quick, expeditious trial.
What about Watson?
Well, the highest court in Texas is going to rule tomorrow on whether he should be extradited to the state of California. We're very confident that the court in Texas will order Watson back.
This is the first time this has ever been attempted, to my knowledge, and this is not second-guessing or criticizing the trial court. It's just an attempt to explain to the community what we're trying to do. I don't think any prosecutor has ever tried to get a defense counsel removed from a case before, and that's admittedly what we're trying in this case. Our reasons are simple. In the first place, in spite of everything we do, this is going to be one of the most expensive and drawn-out criminal trials in history. There are a variety of reasons. It relates to the length of time it's taking to get a defendant back from Texas. It relates to the number of defendants. It relates to the number of victims. It relates to changes in the law in recent years regarding representation. And that's, of course, one of the major problems we face now. In recent years, the question of representation has become more difficult and more confused, and I have nothing but sympathy for the trial court. If a defendant today says he wants to represent himself, the judge is damned if he does and damned if he doesn't. If he lets the defendant represent himself, very likely on appeal, the appellate court will say, no, he wasn't qualified and you shouldn't have let him represent himself. If you deny him the right to represent himself, then obviously that's going to be made a point of on appeal, and maybe the appellate court will disagree with the trial court. So, as I say, I have nothing but sympathy with the trial court. They're asking the Supreme Court to order the trial judge to hold a hearing relative to the qualifications of Mr. Manson's attorney. We have a number of witnesses, including 8 judges, prepared to testify concerning his competence and qualification. We think that under the circumstances that the Supreme Court should order a hearing, and we'd like to have the question concerning his qualifications determined in advance of the trial. Nothing is being held up. Meantime, the jurors are being examined. If the Supreme Court rules against us, we've tried. We would much prefer to face this issue relative to the qualifications of Mr. Manson's attorney now than we would 2, 3, 4 years from now.